Welcome to Boston, England's most rebellious colony, in the year 1773. Today we explore the powder keg city on the eve of revolution, brought back to life using the most intelligent AI software there is to give you an accurate view of this pivotal moment in history. So sit back and enjoy a ride through history like never before. On September 30th, 1768, 9 British warships descended upon Boston Harbour, an overwhelming show of force meant to crush colonial resistance to the Townshend Acts. 2 regiments of redcoats, the 14th and 29th, disembarked at Long Wharf with martial pomp. They marched up King Street with fixed bayonets while Boston's 40,000 residents watched in sullen silence. The occupation had begun. Boston was a city of narrow, winding streets, a medieval tangle crammed onto a peninsula barely connected to the mainland by a thin neck of land. Church steeples dominated the skyline: Old North Church, Old South Meeting House, King's Chapel. Along the waterfront, warehouses and counting houses serviced the Atlantic trade that made Boston wealthy. Now, redcoats patrolled those streets, their scarlet uniforms a constant reminder of imperial authority. Tensions simmered for 18 months. Bostonians resented the soldiers who competed for jobs, harassed women, and symbolized tyranny. The soldiers resented the locals who insulted them, threw snowballs, and made their service miserable. Something had to break. On March 5, 1770, a cold Monday evening, it did. A crowd gathered on King Street near the Custom House, taunting a lone British sentry. When Captain Thomas Preston arrived with 8 soldiers to rescue him, the mob surrounded them, throwing snowballs, ice, oyster shells, clubs. Someone shouted, "Fire!" Shots rang out. When the smoke cleared, 5 Bostonians lay dead or dying in the snow. Crispus Attucks, a man of African and Native American descent, formerly enslaved, now a sailor, was the first to fall. Samuel Gray, a rope maker, James Caldwell, a mariner, Samuel Maverick, a 17-year-old apprentice. Patrick Carr, an Irish immigrant, died 9 days later. These were working men, not gentlemen patriots. Their blood stained the snow red and gave the resistance movement its first martyrs. The massacre trials shocked everyone. John Adams, cousin to the radical Sam Adams, defended the soldiers, arguing they acted in self-defense. 6 were acquitted. 2 were found guilty only of manslaughter, branded on the thumb, and released. The British pulled their troops out of town to Castle William on an island in the harbour. An uneasy peace settled over Boston. But in 1773, Parliament pushed too far. The Tea Act granted the British East India Company a monopoly on American tea sales, undercutting colonial merchants and smugglers alike. When 3 tea ships, the Dartmouth, Eleanor and Beaver, arrived in Boston Harbour in November and December, the city faced a crisis. Governor Thomas Hutchinson refused to let them leave without unloading and paying the hated tea tax. On December 16, 1773, thousands gathered at Old South Meeting House for a final appeal. When word came that Hutchinson still refused, Samuel Adams reportedly declared, "This meeting can do nothing more to save the country." It was a signal. That night, men disguised as Mohawks, faces darkened with soot and lampblack, wearing blankets and feathers, boarded the 3 ships at Griffin's Wharf. In 3 hours, they dumped 342 chests of tea worth $18,000 into Boston Harbour. Parliament's response was swift and brutal. The Coercive Acts, which colonists called the Intolerable Acts, closed Boston's port, revoked Massachusetts' charter, and placed the city under martial law. General Thomas Gage arrived with 4,000 troops. Boston was under siege, cut off from the sea that gave it life, starving economically and literally. By April 1775, Gage knew the colonists were stockpiling weapons in Concord, 20 miles northwest. On the night of April 18th, he sent 700 soldiers to seize those supplies. But Boston's patriots had watchers everywhere. When the Redcoats rowed across the Charles River, lanterns appeared in Old North Church's steeple, 2 if by sea. Paul Revere and William Dawes rode through the night warning the countryside. At dawn on April 19th, 77 Minutemen faced the British advance guard on Lexington Green. Someone fired. To this day, no one knows who. 8 colonists died. The British marched onto Concord, where at North Bridge the colonists fired back deliberately, killing British soldiers. The shot heard round the world had been fired. The British retreated to Boston under constant fire from thousands of militia hiding behind walls and trees. By day's end, 73 British and 49 Americans lay dead. The war had begun. Boston became a prison. Gage's army held the city, but colonial militia surrounded it on all sides. No one could enter or leave without permission. Food grew scarce. Loyalists cowered while patriots slipped away to join the siege lines. The city that had sparked the revolution was now trapped by it. On June 17, 1775, the Battle of Bunker Hill, actually fought on Breed's Hill, proved the colonists could stand against regulars. Though the British won the high ground, they lost over 1,000 men, 40% of their force. General Howe, who replaced Gage, realized Boston was untenable. When George Washington's Continental Army dragged cannon from Fort Ticonderoga and placed them on Dorchester Heights overlooking the city, Howe knew it was over. On March 17, 1776, forever after celebrated as Evacuation Day in Boston, Howe's army and over 1,000 loyalists sailed away to Halifax. Washington entered the city in triumph. Boston was free. The siege had lasted 11 months. The city was damaged, its economy shattered, its population reduced. But Boston had won. The rebellion it sparked would become a revolution, and that revolution would birth a nation. Paul Revere, whose engravings helped ignite the revolution, would continue his work, creating the first currency for the Continental Congress, casting cannons and bells, and building the foundation for American industry. The men who dumped tea in the harbour would become founding fathers. The blood spilled on King Street and Lexington Green would water the Tree of Liberty. I hope you enjoyed your tour of Boston in 1773. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe for future videos.